Tank David successful tonight against Hugo Ruiz by knockout. We're going to hear what the champ has to say.
It was a part of me that want to go more round because I'm a fighter, but also I was saying that, if I could get him out of there earlier, I could have another fight. So,
Floyd, what'd you make of how he fought here tonight and the manner that he finished the fight?
Proud of him. I'm proud of him. He's young. He's been through a lot. A hell of a lot. He's been through a lot at such a young age. Actually, been through more than I've been through at such a young age. But I'm proud of him. He went out there, displayed his power, displayed his speed, and he's showing the world day in and day out. This is a new face of boxing.
Floyd, it seemed that the first punch that you hit him with, I could tell his body language kind of reacted. We're like, oh, this guy's a big puncher. Did you notice that in there?
Yeah, I noticed that, just him, he didn't have that same feeling when we faced off and, the weigh-in, so he knew it was real when we got in there and it showed.
So, Floyd, you being his promoter,
yes.
When is he going to come back? Because there's only a round of work. He didn't get injured or anything, so it looks like he's good to go.
I know we're talking about May, if that's okay with him. But he got an exhibition bout with the guy Tension in Japan in April. Tank.
He's fighting Tension.
Yes, he's fighting Tension in an exhibition bout in Japan. It's all about putting our guys in.
Wait, is this a boxing match?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exhibition bout.
The guy that you just fought.
Yes, absolutely.
In Rising.
Yes, in Rising. Yes. So I'm proud of Tank, and he's going to stay active. But April is Tension, and May is the real fight.
So what would be the real fight?
We don't know. We don't know. I get back, I talk with my staff, my team, sit down with Leonard, Al, and the rest of my staff, and the rest of my team and see what we come up with. But also, let the young man, this young fighter, this young champion, have some input.
What'd you make of your entrance? That was something pretty unique, pretty cool to see.
I loved it. I came here yesterday and I sang it, and I was very happy. And I went home and I just kept studying, and I just loved it. And I wanted to be on the right time and so much, because this is my first main event, and I think I did great. I believe I'm ready for this stage.
This is your first main event?
Well, first main event in the U.S.
Okay.
So the main card, are you going to be a part of it?
Oh, the main card, it's all about Tank. I'm proud of Tank. He's a young, true warrior, a young champion. And he's been through a lot, as far as the media trying to criticize Tank for fighting this guy. Listen, criticize me, criticize Leonard, criticize his team, but don't criticize the fighter. The fighter's job is to go out there and kick ass, and that's what he does day in and day out.
Well, if you're touching on that, a lot of fans want to see him fight someone of a bigger level to get tested. When will we see him against that level of fighter that the fans want to see him against?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I just seen when he won the world title from the opponent that he beat. I think he beat the world champion that was undefeated. And the world champion that he beat went to the Olympics. He has no amateur background. He wasn't even ranked in the top 10 and became world champion. He's two-time world champion, and he don't even have, 22 fights. So this is unbelievable. There's no rush. You're a remarkable fighter. I'm behind you no matter what nobody say. Your job is to go out there and fight and keep making them 7-figure paydays, and we move you up to 8-figure paydays and then 9 figures.
Hey, Tank, Radio Raheem. Hey,
I
Tank.
think that will be the huge fight for you.
It's time for us to move and talk right here. Like I said before, we're not going to call no particular fighter out, and it's not like we ducking or dodging anyone. Lomachenko has to fight as many fights as possible extremely quick because he's very, very old. Tank is probably 10 years or 11 years younger than Lomachenko. Lomachenko will be 40 before you know it. There's no rush, Tank. Your job is to continue to go out there and do what you're doing. You making the same money Lomachenko is making, and you're doing it easier. Lomachenko just fought, and Lomachenko is a hell of a fighter, and I like Lomachenko. But the guy, after Tank went out there and beat the champion up, Lomachenko fought Tank leftovers and with the distance. And guess what? Tank didn't have to go to the Olympics. Tank didn't have to fight 300 amateur fights. Tank didn't have to fight 400 amateur fights. Tank gonna go out there and get the job done. This right here, he's the real one in boxing. He's the truth.
Floyd, if the
fight did happen.
We don't care about that. We don't want to hear about that. Tank is the champion. It's his night. Give him his credit. Just like when all these other fighters go out there and was fighting all these years, y'all didn't want to give me my credit. And now y'all screaming this Pacquiao shit once again. When all you media people was talking about what Pacquiao was going to do, then I kick his ass in. Oh, let's do it again. It's Tank night. Tank is the champion, and Tank is the face of boxing. Talk to me.
Radio Raheem with Tank Davis. Hey, listen, like Floyd said, you've been through a lot. It's been publicized. It seemed like tonight you've shown a lot of maturity in the way you handle the press, the build up to this fight. What do you attribute that to? What changed in your life or changed in your mind to make you focus in a different way?
Just becoming that that main event fighter. I want to step it up, inside the ring and outside the ring. So my main focus was, get the fans my all, and that's what I did.
It can be really frustrating and difficult to have an opponent change last minute. Obviously, you're training for one guy. There's beef there. You're focused on a single opponent, and a new guy comes in right away. What kind of adjustments did you have to make in the gym to focus on a guy that you didn't know very well and hadn't been training for in the beginning of your camp?
Well, when I found out that they switched the opponent, well, not switching, but Abner got hurt, I was already in LA. It was a week away, so it wasn't too hard. I believe I have the skills to beat anyone they have in front of me, and I have, I believe that my team, know what's right for me. So I believed in that decision.
Now, your walkout was longer than your fight. I imagine that's a pretty good goal. It's a good accomplishment tonight. I notice, as everyone does, your affinity for Michael Jackson. So maybe the third time I've seen some kind of homage to Michael Jackson on your fight night. Why is that? What's the connection there?
He was a big guy, and he was loved by the people, and I was one of them kids that loved Michael Jackson. So I wanted to triple to him.
And lastly, obviously, you have a special relationship with your promoter. I've never seen Floyd with any of his fighters quite this close, quite this hands-on. What does that do for you? What do you get from that other than friendship?
Just made me push harder. I still like when I first met him. Sometime when he called my phone, I just look at the ring, and be like, I had Floyd Mayweather calling my phone, and this was the guy that I looked up to coming up. So it's amazing. It made me push hard.
Do you have a particular goal in your career or in your life as a fighter? Is there something that you want to get to where you say, all right, Gervonta Davis has done what he came to do?
Just, be that household name, be that pay-per-view star. My main focus is being that pay-per-view star, and being excited.
Floyd, as a promoter, obviously there's all kind of things that can come up. Your main event opponent pulled out just a week or so before the fight. What is it like to have to make that adjustment, find an opponent that the fans or the media won't criticize?
Well, I didn't, just criticize me, criticize his team. I'm proud of Tank. Abner Moore's a hell of a fighter, another tough competitor. And we can make the fight happen down the line, but I want Abner Moore's to heal up, get better. My prayers go out to him and his family. He's a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a champion. And it'll happen down the line. But what Tank need to do is continue to go out there, rack up the victories, beat whoever we put in front of him, and that's his job.
What is it about Tank that's special, maybe more so than other fighters in your stable? I know you respect all your fighters, but everyone sees you've given this guy special attention. Why?
It's not really that. It's that, like myself, his mother been through a lot as far as been on drugs. My mother been on drugs. My dad been in prison, people in his family been locked up. So, what I try to give him, he's like my son, my oldest son. I always give him positive advice. A lot of times he don't like to listen. A lot of times he don't want to answer his phone. A lot of times he go in the media and go in a rage and be upset. But I still love him unconditional and only want the best for him.
And lastly, this was a surprise to us that he'll be over in Japan having that fight again.
It's the exhibition.
With the exhibition, we all saw what happened with your exhibition. What did that guy do?
It was crazy, but the exhibition was supposed to be $9 million, but I ended up making $10 million. Over 10 million. I got a bonus.
The man was crying when it was over. You destroyed him. What did he do in that fight that would make anybody believe it will change at all with Gervonta Davis, an even bigger puncher, a more aggressive fighter, a younger fighter? Like, what is? How can this possibly be competitive?
Well, you know what's crazy is, like, Tank know this. When I was young like him, I was a knockout artist when I was young. But, you know, Father Time, which is, you know, as you get older, when you get into your 30s, you know, the hands ain't holding up, the body ain't holding up the same. But then you got that mental game, you still got to find ways to win. But, you know, it's his night. It's his night. I'm proud of him. I want him to keep going out there being the best that he can be. And what can I say? His grade tonight is always as great as an A if he won. And you can't grade him a B. Even if it went to distance, you can't grade him a B because he won. So it's an A. And he made some hell of a money.
His name Takashi. You gonna try to knock him out faster than Floyd did? Wait, hold on. Radio Raheem with Gervonta Davis and Money Floyd Mayweather.
Am I having more exhibitions? Probably so. Most likely, yeah. I got about 80 million on the table worth of exhibition. I'm not sure.